Good morning, everybody. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. We're just going to have a look at Bitcoin, a little bit of Dixian dominance as well. So before we go into the price action, I thought I'd just have a quick look at the dominance chart. So on the live stream, was it Wednesday night when we had this nice breakout for Bitcoin and altcoins were suffering? We saw the dominance chart actually increase, going all the way up to the more or less just peaking above the center of the Bollinger Band. And I was saying, for those of you who've got the the balls to do it, that would be the time to play a small rotation from Bitcoin, the Bitcoin pump into the altcoin's demise, and it would appear that worked out quite well for those who did it. I didn't do it. I've got a longer term strategy for this dominance chart, and but yeah, that would have worked out quite well. But now it would appear, like I say, it would appear that the march up on the dominance chart is continuing. So that rotation looks largely to have played out by now. And we'll have to be very careful if you're trying to be clever on this chart, going from one asset to the other and back and forth, because overall the dominance chart is strong and it does favour more upside. Doesn't mean that every single altcoin is going to go to zero. That's not what it means. That is not what it means at all. It's just trying to make the most out of the market, and some altcoins might suffer, as we saw on Wednesday when Bitcoin broke out. I'd probably say a large portion of the altcoin market was actually red versus its tether pairing, whereas Bitcoin had broken out by 6, 7, 8, 9%. So that's an interesting thing for those who've not seen that before, but obviously for those who've been around in the market, we have seen that before. And the reason we always reference this dominance chart, especially when we're coming down to these low levels, is because that is a potential risk of trading altcoins when the dominance chart is low. The time to rotate into an altcoin position is always when the dominance chart is high or at a resistance, and to get overexcited when the dominance chart continues to go lower and lower and lower. Well, I mean, you're basically tempting fate, and we saw a little glimpse into what could take place on Wednesday. And this isn't the way it has to be. It doesn't have to be this way, but it's definitely something you should consider, because if you've been in the market less than a year, you will not have seen that situation play out. If you've been in the market for as long as I have, you will have seen that situation play out. And it's like I say, if you're stuck in an altcoin position while Bitcoin is making a major breakout, and you see Bitcoin going up every week and your altcoin staying static, or even worse, going down in value, it's not a good place to be. So it's just something to be aware of. And like I say, no altcoin is created equal. Altcoins will always outperform Bitcoin. If we look at them on an individual basis, of course, there's always going to be some that will completely dwarf Bitcoin's performance. But generally speaking, when we're thinking about the market as a whole, the Bitcoin dominance gives us a rough overview of who is likely to be the maybe if not just the strongest, but the safest place to be. And for me, a Bitcoin position is my largest one. Doesn't mean that I'm not out of alts. I've got loads of alts: Algorand, VRA, BEPRO, OMI, FET, XRP, XLM. The list goes on. There's tons of them. I've got tons of them. But on a ratio, I'm definitely 60% or over in Bitcoin at the moment. Right, so that out of the way, like I say, Bitcoin dominance pushing up towards the center of this Bollinger Band again, which is where we find our rejections on the weekly. The 20 weekly got bang bang, rejection, bang bang, and then here. So there is a very strong chance we do get rejected once again from around about the 44.5% to 45% dominant range. But the thing to be aware of is that if we do break out from this zone, and even if we just go all the way up to 48, it doesn't sound much, but it would hurt a lot of altcoins. Might not be the ones that you're holding or the ones that I'm holding, but it could be. But it's just something to be aware of. That's boring, and but it's worth thinking about. Something even more boring before we go on to Bitcoin is that the Dixie continues to be in its uptrend, finding a support here on the daily on the 10 exponential moving average. This is basically where it's been supported on this when the uptrend really started to pick up pace. We've got a golden cross, got above the Bollinger Band here, 10 exponential, 10, 10, 10, 10 exponential, and a 10 again. So the uptrend might be fizzling out, but on a daily structure, it's a bullish formation, and it does offer more potential to go up. And the only reason we talk about the dollar is that, not that it's really impacted Bitcoin that much, but we're waiting for an actual rejection on this. And this is where we can, I'm not much of a margin trader. Futures trading it's not really for me. There's no real need. I don't really see the need for it, to be honest, with crypto, when everything just goes up massively all the time. If you get on a decent spot position, you just don't need leverage. But if I ever were to use leverage, I'd need to marry a few charts together to make sure that I get the best opportunity. And the best opportunity for me would be when Dixie finally gets a genuine rejection. That's when we'll get real gains across the board for Bitcoin and altcoins alike. And while we're in this uptrend, yeah, it doesn't seem to have hindered the performance of cryptocurrency at all. But when we actually finally get a true rejection, then yeah, leverage positions would probably be something I'd be more interested in. But yeah, so for the moment on the daily, it certainly looks relatively strong. 4 hourly, there's nothing wrong with this either. 4 hourly is good. And if we just quickly, briefly look at the weekly, there is a chance that we're already finding our rejection around these levels. There is that chance. And so this is the only thing we've got to hold on to if you're in favour of a downside Dixie. If we cannot close weekly candle bodies above 94.2, which is the 200 exponential here on the weekly, then yeah, this could potentially be the top. But all smaller term time frames point to more they favour more upside, and the upside could easily take us up to 95 before an actual decent rejection. And that might not be the absolute top, but a decent rejection, maybe all the way back down to this area of resistance support, so 93.4. If we start closing candles below this area, or in this area, then it would be really good for everything, because this would be a Dixie downtrend at that point. Now, not a failed, but a finished uptrend, and then going into an actual downtrend. But for the moment, it still looks like it wants a bit more. Right, so back here we go. So Bitcoin, and if you think about what's taken place, this is a weekly, right? So over the last 2 weeks, it's been pretty epic. Okay, so we pretty much came down to that zone, and we rallied a 37, almost 38% move, right? Over a space of 2 weeks, when everybody was thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna die, it's bear market, blah. And in all fairness, like we've not made a new all-time high yet, and to be honest with you, like I'm not going to say we're in a bull market or a bear market. We're playing the range, but overall, I have to say that yeah, I very much favour further upside on this one in general throughout the rest of the year, anyway. But if the reason I'm measuring this out is that over the last 2 weeks, been 38% move basically from bottom to top, and I would definitely expect a little bit of a retrace, whether it's taking place over this weekend or throughout next week. A bit of a retrace would be fine. We do have a brewing conversion baseline cross here. I mean, it's not formed properly, it's not been closed yet, and if it did close with a Chiku span still within the price action, but over the coming weeks it does look very good for a long-term continuation of a trend, which makes me very much more bullish on the grand picture of this. And I don't give, it's not for me to say where it's going to go, but a long-term continuation signal is very, very good, and especially when you get it on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin essentially drives the market. So if Bitcoin's healthy, everything else can flourish. If Bitcoin, it's like an ecosystem, right? So Bitcoin is the ozone layer that protects the rest of the market. If the ozone layer is gone, then the market will also go with it. So this is brewing quite a nice move. And actually, if you look on the total market cap, excluding and including Bitcoin, they both have very good signals as well. So everything's looking good for the long term. In the short term, yeah, I would expect a consolidation from the move that we've had so far. Whether we push up again to push up into the $56,000 zone before we get the pullback, that's fine. I mean, so far in the 4 hourly chart, it's holding up okay. So we've a nice big move up, consolidation from this one specific move on the 4 hourly, similar to the way that this has looked on here. So we big move up, basically consolidation at a bullish level. Basically consolidating high, picked up on the center of this Bollinger Band, pushed up, and pushed up once again, consolidated. The Bollinger Band catches up to price action, so there is a chance that we do another big push up. And when I say big, a few $1,000 move, a few $1,000, just based on what we see there. But MACD turning down and diverging, so it's in the very short term time frames, it could go up, it could go down. Long term time frames seem pretty good to me anyway. But with my rational mind plugged in, I would say that a consolidation is definitely due at some point. Whether we do it immediately or if we do it later on. I think it's on the cards. If we have a look at the money flow index here on the daily, it's actually pretty high, highest it's been in a little while. When you're in the 90 zone, it's usually an area to consider. Well, it's not for me to tell you to take profit, but it's to be expected to have a bit of a pullback. So we'll have a look at how this has performed in the past. So we've had our last top around this zone here. We had a pullback around here. So this is on our most recent massive move up from the bottom of the accumulation zone. Big buy, top, money flow index, pullback, and then continuation. Where else were we quite high? This was a high read over here. And so that was the top of the initial peak of this very large 300% rally. Money flow index quite high. Interestingly enough, not as high as we are today. And then a decent pullback there. Again, you know, it just goes on and on and on. It's a very good indicator at spotting potential tops, and we're basically looking down the barrel of a gun right now for a potential temporary top. You know, like I say, all of those tops that we've just marked out there on the money flow index, they went on to make new highs thereafter. I'm only showing you this on a daily. This isn't a weekly money flow index top. However, we might as well just have a quick look at that, see how that's faring. So it's fine. This is a very good indicator at spotting tops. Top of the parabolic move, 2017 into 18, that was the market top. This was the parabolic move from 2019, so from 3,300 to 14,000. That was marked at the top, and this one marks the peak of the last bull run, not the actual proper peak, but the 300% rally peak, which was over here. And the rest of it was basically on borrowed time. This is where the bearish divergence started to play out. So the initial rally was perfectly fine. We got an exit signal, and actually this is where we exited and went into altcoins because it was such an obvious trade. Bearish divergence thereafter, and so yeah. But overall, everything's looking pretty good, I would say. But be prepared for a pullback around these levels. You know, and as far as targets are concerned, yeah, it's difficult to give an actual target. There's so many below us. There's basically supports after supports after supports. The most obvious place would be around 51, 52, 10 exponential. Also, this descending trend line, which was previous resistance, could flip to support. We could also come all the way down to 49,000 to be perfectly fine. With every day that goes that moves forward, these moving averages will start to cross above the top of the accumulation zone, making this area and all the ones above a lot stronger support. So I'm just saying, you know, I think that, you know, we've got to be rational about what we're looking at here. We are looking at a potential top in the short term. I think downside is probably more likely than upside, even though I'm okay to see it go up by another few $1,000s before it actually finds that temporary top and then has a consolidation, a small one from that level. But overall, yeah, we're looking at a potential temporary peak for the moment. But everything's pretty good, like I say, weekly, and also the market in general. With the total market cap looking very, very bullish for continuation. Everything wants continuation on the long term, I have to say, but in the very short term, we are looking at what could be a temporary top right now in the consolidation. Whether it's a small one or maybe even a slightly larger one, but it would still be okay and very fitting, you know, with the grand picture of Bitcoin continuing with its rally over the rest of this year. Right, that'll do for now. We're doing a live stream tonight for Patreon members. We'll look at all your altcoins, and you know, we'll do the full 2-hour session. It was a good live stream last week, and it was an appropriate time as well when we were talking about all these altcoins, literally on the moment that the dominance chart was being rejected. So some excellent opportunities the last Wednesday when we did the live stream. This time, I suppose, when we're looking at we'll be looking at all these altcoins, it might be a bit more of a you know, let's map out certain areas of potential interest. But given what I'm saying on the Bitcoin dominance and the fact that Bitcoin looks like it could easily pull back and consolidate from here just in the short term, dominance chart was likely to go up throughout that period as well. And then when Bitcoin finally picks itself up again, dominance chart may again continue up even further. So I think at this stage, in the very short term at least, we have to be a little bit more cautious about how we're going to treat our altcoins, and don't be afraid to take some profit if you're significantly in profit. But that's just my strategy. Your strategy is your strategy. Don't let me interfere with your already well thought out plans. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the live stream tonight. Links in the description below. Hope you have a nice weekend. Take it easy.